Can you explain the move over the weekend? Obviously, we've come back now a bit. I don't know if we were discussing whether we call that a correction. Is 10% a correction in Bitcoin land?
You know, Bitcoin's trading like 100 vol instrument at this point. So yeah, 10%, I guess, is within the one standard deviation up and down move these days. Listen, you know, the stimulus checks are coming. People are excited about that. A lot of the stimulus checks are going to young people who want to buy Bitcoin. But more importantly from that, in the last 3 months, we've had this secular shift where Bitcoin has become an asset. It's not maybe, it's not, it might be, it's now an asset class. Cryptocurrency is an asset class. Every bank is moving in, every tech company is moving in, and all portfolios are starting to move in. And so if you're not long, you're short. And that's just what you see on every dip. There are institutional buyers lined up to buy this thing.
So you think this weekend was institutions, not retail money?
No, this weekend was retail. What happens on the weekend is retail gets excited. You can tell because the cost of leverage goes way up on the weekend. And so the basis trading, different measures of how expensive it is to get leverage goes up. Then maybe one bad story, one nervous, moment, and everyone stops themselves back out. And so, from Friday afternoon, we're roughly 1% from where we were. And so if you're a normal market, you come in Monday morning, you roll up your sleeves, and you're like, okay, nothing's changed. Bitcoin goes 24/7. And so for the Bitcoiners, it was a big weekend.
Well, what do you make of, and Robert Frank did a report earlier today about the connection between the NFT market and the Bitcoin market, that the buyer, for example, on some of Beeple's stuff and other things really are coming from people who've made a lot of money in Bitcoin. So how connected are these markets?
They're very connected, right? The NFT market is an extension of crypto, right? If Bitcoin was the first digital money you couldn't counterfeit, we now have that same concept going on into art, into IP. And so the early adopters of NFTs are almost all crypto people. A lot from the Ethereum community, right? Because it's built on the Ethereum blockchain. And so you see people that have made their money in crypto starting to participate. And that's a trend we see. We introduce someone to Bitcoin, they understand it, they like it, they start making money, and then they say, oh, what else? And then they look at the Ethereum ecosystem and start to understand what decentralized compute is and say, wow, that could really change the world. And then they look at decentralized finance and now NFTs. And so people are walking that journey along with us.
How much do you think there's a natural point at which this gets to, let's say this gets to $100,000 or $200,000? Does that take the wind out of the air of Bitcoin to some degree? Because at some point, you can't make these 200, 300, 400, 500% gains the way you could have, obviously, if you were buying this thing when it was under $5,000.
Yeah, listen, the law of large numbers kicks in, and it gets harder for it to go higher. Listen, in the long run, we're in this once in a lifetime secular shift where we had something that wasn't an asset class that's becoming an asset class. So every insurance company and pension fund and endowment and money manager needs to get something on the books. And so that's why we're having this kind of one-off secular shift. I think after that, Bitcoin will literally be like a report card for how citizens think the government is doing managing their finances, right? This is not a money, right? Bitcoin is a digital store of wealth. And so in some ways, if people think, Powell and Yellen really have got it together and they're going to be able to land this giant super tanker, grow us, at full employment and not have high inflation, people will stop moving into Bitcoin. But right now, people are saying, hey, there's a chance that this super tanker crashes. And as long as that story is alive, both here and abroad, right, we've kind of got the same problem globally that we do in the United States with profligate spending. And so I think at that point, yes, you could see the wheels shift. But until then, until people really feel confidence that we're not going to blow out, listen, this new stimulus was a 10% GDP deficit on top of a giant deficit, right? We're kind of in uncharted territories on how much money we're printing. And Bitcoin is a report card on that.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.